Wherever you want to stay.
We're going to visit some neighbors.
Well, it's about time. We didn't get any this year.
Does he really? Okay, I don't know what. We have a 3D printer in-house, so we can print.
I'll see.
Right.
Ms. Lino, have you heard from the mayor or deputy mayor?
I have not,
Okay, have you called them?
except,
It's 2:30.
yeah, deputy mayor asked for one copy, here's
It's 2:30.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just, I mean, we have, so, well. Okay, no,
Huh?
okay,
I'm just
Yeah.
watching
I'll
the,
see you.
yeah, I can't really.
Okay.
I don't know,
I thought someone was typing.
I don't know,
but
that's what I
it
was
looks
trying to
like it's,
see,
It auto transcribes.
Yeah.
but it's saying JC's, I didn't know if it was our phone. So JS.
A microphone check.
Yeah, we're good, Sean.
All right, cool. Do you want the closed caption in there or no?
Not for us, but the public. It's
No problem.
for the public.
It's fine for the public's viewing. If the public can see it, we don't particularly need it, but it may be beneficial for someone watching.
Correct. So the option is always there. It is enabled for, this meeting. So it is available.
Oh, you sound so crisp and clear. It's like you're sitting right next to me.
See?
Are these his? It's I'm printing them out. Address it.
Who was it from?
Doesn't really say.
Sorry. Were you planning on, coming in person to the budget hearing? Oh. In my office, Latoya is there. Yeah, okay. Did you need something? Yeah, she should be able to help you. But we don't need. Do we need?
Yes.
We don't need a quorum because the hearing is for budget presentation. That's the purpose of the public hearing. We would have a public hearing if the council were here or not.
And the only reason, and the reason we advertised it is, because there is going to be a quorum, there is a possibility a quorum could be present, and that's why we had to advertise it.
So did you advertise this as a council meeting?
I did, well,
What is it? I don't know what they were saying.
Yeah, I think it might have been advertised as a public meeting. And for that, we need a warrant, right?
Yeah.
We go with advertised as a budget hearing.
the only reason I'm thinking it wasn't advertised is because I know it's for agencies, like, it's not essentially posted.
So
So we're good. Either way. No, not either way, you can still check.
I'll see, I'll check.
Yeah.
I can start now. On the advertisement now.
Well, you can get the advertisement later, we just wanna know.
All right,
Yeah.
we can go ahead and proceed.
Is this the fall doing this?
He said he's gonna be here most of his.
Not yet.
This morning. All right, sorry. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order, the budget hearing meeting to order at 2:38 p.m. Roll call, Councilwoman Perron. Councilwoman Whitfield,
Present?
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Present.
Mayor McIntosh.
She indicated she had a prior engagement. So,
Please rise for the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Compliance statement, notice was provided in compliance with chapter 291 of the Public Laws of 1975 to the Burlington Times, Trenton Times, and Philadelphia Inquirer, stating the time, place, and agenda to the extent it was known. Additionally, notice was filed with the office of the township clerk.
Good afternoon, everyone, and again, I thank everyone for being present for our annual budget hearings. in compliance with New Jersey statute annotated 40:69A-96, which requires that during the month of November in each year, the municipal manager shall require all department heads to submit requests for appropriations for the ensuing budget year and to appear before him at a public hearing, which shall be held during that month on the various requests. And these hearings are in accordance with the law and in compliance with the statute. So we're going to begin with our departmental requests, starting with senior services and under the direction of Ms. Reva Foster. Ms. Foster,
Thank you very much, sir, and I'm very happy to be here.
Ms. Foster, if you but just please speak up so everyone can hear you.
Okay, yes, I'm very happy to be here. I'm here to report on the budget presentation for 2025 for Community Affairs, Senior Services, and Veterans Affairs. Next slide, please. And all of you have the copies.
Yes.
Comprehensive, proactive, community-based services and ELA-specific programs are in the department's SMART goals. They are reported with accomplishments in the monthly goals reports. Each goal clearly defines the mission, direction, highlights the dedication of the staff employees and how they are determined to be empathetic to the needs of the total Willingboro community. Monthly averages. Senior Citizen Center attendees, 2,656. Transportation to the senior center and within Willingboro, 233. Transportation to doctor's appointments and dialysis, 32. Food delivery and distribution, 1,500 pounds of food that is delivered every month. The Community Affairs and Senior Services and Veterans Affairs departments have budgeted this year for each and consisting of 6 full-time employees and 3 part-time employees. The 6 full-time employees include the executive director, 1 clerk, 2 administrative support, 2 clerk 1s, receptionists, transportation, and general scheduling, and 2 CDL drivers. The part-time employees include 3 clerks, which are clerk 1s, language and communications, community development services. There are 3 certified contract employees and instructors teaching various classes such as yoga, Pilates, sit down and low impact exercise, mediation, and certified master trainers is the Tai Chi and Qigong instructors. We have 4 class instructors teaching line dancing and so on. You can read them for yourself. Next page, please. The Community Affairs, Senior Services, and Veterans Affairs will continue to strategically and methodically work to have greater impact on legislations and public policies by leveraging our networking skills and resources towards making the challenging economic and medical conditions better in Willingboro.
I think we are a page. It's not lining up. After you.
Skip that page. You can go on, thank you. That's the last page I just read. That was the last page. Thank you, Reva Foster. Are there any questions?
So do we need to go back one page to
Did
the
you wanna
budget.
read? That's
So,
the number.
so Sean, go back one page,
Yes, and that was the page that,
right there.
okay. Yes, I got, the email this morning telling me to take that page out. And so I do have copies of that page.
We have it in our packet.
You have it in your packet already? Okay,
Right.
I'll put it in as well. Thank you.
So these are your budget numbers, so will you go ahead and go through them? And explain or justify increases
I will.
or decreases?
I will do that, yes. On line item, the last three numbers are the actual numbers, the line item for what we're doing in area. But the first set of numbers are just for my department. 501-275-350-000. That's the department number. And 022 is the description of what that department's number stands for. Travel expenses. Travel expenses increased by $50. That's for transportation. Clothing and equipment, which is 032. We didn't put anything in that one for last year, so we're increasing it by $1,000. And that's in the purchasing primarily those t-shirts and shirts and pants that the CDO drivers have to use, as well as for the staff to be uniformed, to have shirts for them as well. The 060 events. We decreased that from 15,000 to 14,000. And we decreased it because we combined events that we hold every year, the holiday events. We combined the 4th of July event with the afternoon of music event. During those events, all of them are the same. We provide music and food, a banquet style food for whoever is attending. So by us combining two of the events, we are reducing the budget by $1,000. Programs, those are the general programs that we hold every day in the senior center. And we reduced that to 13,000. And we use the sponsors that we have developed relationships with, and the agencies that currently handle senior services and handle Veterans Affairs to come in and do that. And therefore we were able to decrease the budget to 13,000. For medical exams, we were able to increase that because we're anticipating a substitute driver for that would be included. Because when one full-time employee is out and we only have 2 people that are certified driver's license individuals, when one is out, as you can see from the beginning, there are too many people for that one driver to be able to pick up, to take them to dialysis, doctor's appointments, or even just to bring them to the center. Program supplies, We did not allocate anything last year, anticipating expanding the senior center and it with an increased attendance. Contractual, those are the vendors that we have that are teaching the various classes, and we've decreased that by $2,000. And we're using the sponsors and the other agencies that are currently coming in that we develop relationships with to teach those classes. Are there any questions on the budget? And I apologize that the printing is so small, but if you, all of you have a copy of the presentation, you see that you could follow along with it.
So Ms. Foster, as I'm looking at your admin budget forms, there are two line items that I don't think that you included in your presentation. Line item number 298, which is for community affairs,
Yes,
at which you had, did I miss it, 2,500. And then for Veterans Affairs programs, you had $1,000.
yes,
When those are the same amounts that you requested last year as well.
that's right.
Okay. So your total appropriations request for 2023 total $91,670. In comparison with the amount that you appropriated last year, which is a substantial difference. Last year, you were budgeted $120,825, and this year you're requesting $91,670, which is a $36,000 reduction.
Yes,
You good with that?
I am good with that, and that's what I sent over this morning when we wanted an adjustment to this one that's on now that Sean got earlier. But yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And we are reducing the budget, and as I understood it, we are supposed to be looking at reducing where we can. Like we took out the projects. I was budgeting projects before, and the entire line item has been taken out because I was using projects as a beginning class that we have never run before to try out the instructor, to try out the content, and to try out whether or not the seniors were benefited from it. And then after that line, then we will go to the programs, and we will make it an actual program within our calendar of events that we have.
And believe me, I don't have any opposition to you reducing the budget, but I just want to make sure that you are requesting enough to maintain the level of operations that you had at least in 2025 or 2024.
2024 to 2025. Yes, sir, we are, because we're looking at the goals monthly. And with the goals monthly, we're looking at our schedule of events as well as schedule of classes. We call them classes because the seniors can relate to classes and we want them to think that way. And to come to pick out the classes they want to come to and actually participate in the classes. Now, we are looking at bringing in under projects, but making it programs, but programs on a smaller level to allow the instructors to be able to get the content that we want the seniors to know about. As you see, there are several issues that seniors need to be and veterans need to be educated on, such as pain management, such as mental capabilities, as well as nutrition, and I can go on. But we have 30 different partners and sponsors in the senior center that's also appropriate for the community and the veterans. And we choose those that are more apropos for the events that we're having at that time. So we're gonna move from there to the next level is to bring those in, and those that don't fit the bill, then they would be moved out, and they will sponsor some other things, the events that we have. There are different phases that we're set up for in the programs that we have. And we're now on the second phase of eliminating the projects and then going to just programs. And then we'll be going to other phases of our operation. There's more than one way to do it, I know, and there might be some other recommendations for doing it, but I feel that my experience with corporate America would be an excellent one to be used in the senior center, and I've used it for 33 years.
I have one.
Mhm.
Ms. Foster, for the programs that you're referring to that would start off as projects,
Mhm.
and then the goal was to make them a program or a class. Can you share what some of those things were that you were looking to begin?
Okay, well, what we did was we started out with the exercise classes. And the exercise class, we started out with low impact exercise. Those are exercises that the seniors and the veterans can do while they're sitting in the chairs. Then from there, you go to the yoga class, which is a class where they can do yoga sitting in the chairs, but they'll move to going on the floor to do the yoga classes. And what yoga is good for is for your whole body. A lot of the seniors have problems with their joints, with the arthritis, with different phases of allowing their body to not be as active as it's been. So we take that under consideration. With the class with the nutrition, a lot of the seniors feel that the same way they've eaten all along is good for them. But we know some of the foods have a lot of salt in it, and we have a sponsor that comes in and talks to them about eating food with limited salt or no salt at all, and then they even prepare a snack for them to eat. Like yesterday, we had our health fair, and we had 10 different sponsors that we have in the senior center. And one of the sponsors brought in brownies, and they were made out of beans. And they taste, and the seniors was coming back and back and back for more, because it looked brown, it was the black beans. I wish I brought you some, Mr. Anderson, and then maybe you wouldn't stop laughing and getting yourself carried away. But they were nutritious, and they were made and looked just like the regular ones. So that's one of the nutrition programs. And if you have ever been down to the senior center and looked on all of our shelves there, we have the class schedule, and then you can see some of the classes you say, I would never go into this class, but the seniors pick and choose, and that's why we have almost 3,000 seniors coming up in a month. They pick and choose what they wanted to learn about. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Foster, for your presentation. I did have one question about the Veterans Affairs line. We've had some vivid discussion on council about honoring our veterans annually for Veterans Day, and doing a celebration for Memorial Day. And is a Veterans Day event, is that something that would fit in that Veterans Affairs bucket, instead of leaving that responsibility to the committee, just so that it's allocated and make sure it's considered as we go into this budget season?
Yes, it can, and it has for years. The only change happened was the year that we had the parade. And it was made clear to us that Ms. Perrone, I wish she was here, but Ms. Perrone would be responsible for the parade. And as a result of that, the protocols were a little different. And yes, we do allocate Veterans Affairs under senior services, but we make sure that the amount is minimum. Because my philosophy is that the commanders of each of the veterans are the ones that should say what their different posts and their different events should be. And it's not that they should say where it should be or when it should be, but in protocols to say that already through the federal government from Veterans Affairs down to the county, when we have 2 divisions in the county that takes care of Veterans Affairs, and then we do it as well. But we make sure that we supplement it with them, we contact them, we let them know what we're doing, and then we do it. And for years, I'd say at least 20 years, we have always recognized the actual year, and within the year, the month that they're expected to follow protocol. And that will be for Memorial Day and for Veterans Day. Now, it doesn't matter where it's held, but what does matter is how it's done. That they're held on a specific time, specific day, and in order. And that order only takes a few minutes. Now, I know I talk a lot and I tell things in too much detail, but the thing is that when questions are asked, I want it to be understood with the protocol. Now, if we want to hold Veterans Affairs any other time, if we want to do Memorial Day any other time, that's fine, as long as we're saying we're not doing it by protocol.
So as part of the departmental restructuring, programs like Veterans Day, Memorial Day, they will be encompassed completely under our programming. So we will have some type of event for Veterans Day, for Memorial Day, as part of the township programming. And if you want the parade above and beyond that, then that would have something that the council would have to authorize separately. Yes. But we're going to incorporate all those programs into our regular program. Council Deputy Mayor.
All right, so along those thoughts, in light of confusion and conversations that have been going back and forth, one of the suggestions I was prepared to make is to now make that township responsibility, whether it falls up under recreation and wellness. And even if it's parade, that the township takes the lead and the committee assists.
Right.
I think we reverse the roles. This way it's clear what programming will be going on without any hiccups. So that was one of the things I was definitely gonna suggest, but if it's part of the restructure under that umbrella of recreation and wellness, great. But I just wanted to make sure we took the lead so it eliminates some of the confusion, conversations around something so important to this community.
Oh, yeah, it's very important because the community was founded based on the lawsuit that the community filed with the federal government. And that's why we want to make sure that we're following the protocol. And being an ex-veteran yourself, you know how important that is.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Foster.
Yes.
Next up is our finance department under the direction of our CFO, Ms. Eusebia Diggs. Ms. Diggs?
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so today, November 14th, Finance Department 2025 budget presentation. So I'm gonna be saying next slide, okay. No, we're not gonna do that. Okay, the Finance Department is responsible for the collection, disbursement of all townships funds, financial reporting and analysis. Additionally, the department efficiently and effectively maintains the township's financial records. The department assists in the preparation and overseeing of the municipal budgets and forecasts. The department ensures proper controls are in place relative to financial accounting, cash flow management, the financing account receivable and payables are all properly maintained and efficiently managed. The department is primarily governed by New Jersey statutes and laws and follows the modified accrual accounting principles. And this method of accounting is commonly used by the government or local government in New Jersey. It recognizes revenue when they are realized and expenses when they occur. The department consists of 11 Say 11? Yeah, 11 budgeted full-time employees, 1 part-time employee. It's headed by the Director of Finance, CFO, myself. We have 1 tax collector, 2 clerks in the tax office. We have 1 supervising accountant, 1 accountant, 1 purchasing agent for now, principal payroll clerk, principal account clerk, the tax assessor who's a part-timer, assistant tax collector, we have 2, and now we have a vacancy for an accounting assistant. So we'll go to the department awards and dues line, that's the first line. We are going from 280 to 350, and only because the membership dues for 2025 was increased by $50. That's the tax collectors and association and treasurers association dues were increased, or will be increased by $50 in 2025. The travel expense, it increased that by $1,000, $300, I'm sorry. And that includes, and we know the travel expense includes the attendance at the league, the GFOA conference, and the TCTA conferences that are held annually. And this line includes hotel stays, tolls, parking, and meals. And we reduced that by $300 because the GFOA conferences will be alternate. We have alternate 1 year instead of both accounting and the CFO attending, we're gonna do 1 at a time because of the CEUs. So we have the office supplies remain the same, and that's vouchers, bank deposit slips, and checkbooks. This year we order a substantial amount of vouchers and deposit slips, so we don't intend to do the same come 2025. Printing $400 remain the same. Those are the year-end envelopes that we order. Training is, we actually reduced that by $2,000. And that's and the reason for that decrease is all of our accountants have attended the CMFO classes. And if we do hire, which we intend to do, an accounting assistant will give that employee a year to get familiar with what we do, and then we send them to class. So it'll be a 2026 expense and not 2025. That's why that reduction. So we have our contractual line going up to 11,000, and that's because of PrimePoint fees. Edmunds, which is the accounting software that we use, is going up, and our professional services definitely go up at least 2% annually. So that's our financial advisors and the bond counsel. The credit card and bank fees remain the same. And miscellaneous, actually I took out miscellaneous. Zero, yeah. So for purchasing awards and dues remain the same, and that's the GPANJ membership dues and the QPA license renewal. Travel expense, that's the hotel stay, tours, dues for the QPA. Purchasing office supplies, that's the township-wide supplies, we increased that by $500. So we have $500, I'm sorry, it's 0.0020. So, let's see more.
And just for clarity, Ms. Davis, can you just explain that those supplies are for the township wide?
Yeah, for every department, yeah, every department goes, through this budget line.
It's 35,000.
35,000,
You
yeah.
said an increase of $500.
An increase of 5,000.
Okay.
$5,000. Went from 30 to 35,000. So we have printing, that's also township-wide, printing of the purchase order, the envelopes, it went up by $1,000. And the postage which is for the postage machine, the annual cost is actually going up by $1,000, from $55,000 to $56,000. We have training, of course, remain the same. Office equipment, remaining the same. Some of the calculators we have, ready need to be changed. They have those numbers we can't even recognize, and then on the calculator, they're all being moved up, so we tend to buy new calculators and desk printers, calculators mostly for that. Contractual, that's the annual contractual lease agreements for the printers. Actually, these are based on contracts. So it's going up from 12,500 to 30,000. I'm sorry. And then the lease copiers, these are the lease agreement for copiers, to remain the same at $60,000. We have the tax office that is within the finance department. Awards and dues is going up by $50, as I mentioned in the earlier, that the TCTA membership dues are going up by $50 in 2025. Printing, we have $5,000. You see a $4,000 reduction because most of the printing of the envelopes will be in the purchasing printing line. So that's why you see that reduction of $4,000 actually in the purchasing printing line. So the advertising, the tax sale advertisement cost is $8,000. And you see that reduction, even though 2024 and prior years showed nothing, because it was charged to the finance line. I said, no, it has to be charged to where it belongs. So the $8,000, instead of being charged under finance contractual, it's under the actual tax office. They generate their own expense, and not under the finance admin contractual line. So we have tax office contractual, that's the professional fees. Went down from $19,000 to $5,000. And the tax collector, I asked the tax collector, why are we going down so much? Hopefully there's not a lot of professional services that will be needed because of most of the bankruptcy and other stuff are clear now, she said. And miscellaneous requested $1,000 for unforeseen expenses. And the training is actually, I just put the explanation of what it's for. CUs for conferences, the TCTA conference and the LEAD conference in USA League of Municipality. We go to the tax assessor, tax assessment office. We have awards and dues remaining same, $150, that's membership dues for the Association of Municipal Assessors in Burlington County. The travel expense remain constant, $50. Office supplies, we have an increase because of the reval. The office supplies, these office supplies are specific to the tax assessor's office because of the reval it's going on, so they need more than the $900, the whole stuff they need to be getting now. Yeah, revaluation. So the printing of the annual assessment cards definitely going up because of the rebar as well. And then training, staff enrichment and training. We have a new staff on board that's gonna need training 2025. 2025. So we have photo fame. Mandatory fees are paid to the New Jersey, to the state to hold ICAP records. That's $25, always have been for the past 2-3 years. And the tax maps. We need to produce annual assessment cards as it regards to the tax map, and they're requesting that everything is in line with the reval that's going on the $1,000.
So Ms. Diggs, if I can ask a question, on the previous page, you had 13,000 for printing related to the annual assessment cards, and then you have 1,000 under tax maps, attributed to the annual assessment card. What's the difference? Why can't they do
I asked the same question to Justin, and he said these assessment cards are related. He wanted it on a year because it's related strictly to the tax map. So he didn't want it to be included in the printing line. Yeah, he wanted it separate.
Okay.
So that tax maps, because these cards are in direct relation to the tax map. Assessment, so I can really, yeah. I asked the same question, trust me. Yeah, so the office equipment, the increase in the software needed in the new updates for inspection software, and this is Surface Pro for the ongoing inspections related to the re-evaluation. So it's going up by $6,000. Contractual remains the same, 11,700. Legal services, professional legal services, and for appeals, it's $1,500. Actually, that $1,500 was actually part of the contractual. I decided to split that to show the legal fees is $1,500. And 11,700 remain the same because an increase in the software cost, software maintenance cost. And computer repairs, nothing. We have new computers, so we don't intend to repair anything, so the line is 0. So for summary, to the increases and decreases in the request for the finance department proposed OE, other expenses, appropriations, everything remain kind of stable. The purchasing office proposed OE appropriation increased by 23,500 due to some increase in service contracts for the printers and copiers. The tax office proposed an OE increase by $5,100 due to upcoming training for new staff in 2025. And the tax assessment office increased by $17,350 due to ongoing inspections and reassessment program. Thank you. Any questions? The budget is coming. Straightforward with the finance department.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs, for your presentation. There were 2 questions that I had. One was about the office supplies for the entire municipality. In some of the presentations, I just scanned through really quick yesterday, there were line items for office supplies. And will those be deconflicted? I don't know if this is for Mr. Harrison.
So those ones are specific to the department. Let's say, for example, inspections. It be a specialized kind of maybe envelope or stickers or something. Yeah, so they would handle that or in that budget. But let's say general office supplies, that pen, papers, staples, pins.
Okay.
So these are for
like
general
the
office.
department, they have specific office supplies.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and then in the legal services line.
137?
Or which office? Tax office or?
The tax office.
Okay.
Yeah. Tax office and the legal services line. Do we anticipate any uptick in appeals because we are doing the revaluation that we would need to account for? I know you put in $1,500, but that was like a base fee, I think, from previous years before we did the revaluation. And there may be a higher number of appeals with that process going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was requested, and hopefully the 11,700 is not, all, part of the software maintenance, so some of that can be contractual, and the legal fees can be in there too, form part of the contractual 11,700, but that's what he requested 1,500 only. Yeah, it's just a request of 1,500.
So I think the reevaluation that the tax assessor is going to, is in the process of doing now is a multi-year process. So when he actually finishes all of the sections for the first time, that's when all the information goes back to the county, they strike whatever they do, and at that point, people can begin to appeal those assessments, but I don't think that's gonna happen
In
until
2025.
2026.
Yeah, but I mean, because the process will be continuous in 2025, you know, anticipate high in appeals.
Okay, so we don't distribute those until the whole process is over.
Yes.
Correct.
And year 5.
Yeah.
is when the person-
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So on slide 14, can you say more about the contractual, that increase from 12,500 to $30,000?
Which
Purchasing department,
Purchasing,
page number, it
okay.
says slide 14 at the bottom.
yes,
It says
contractual.
Right, it says printers, but it just seems like a.
Okay, yeah, oh, yeah, these are annual agreements, so, you know, the agreements were already put in place, so, you know, after year increases, so, I think that there are, I know for sure there are more, printers that were added this year, that, the contract come, or is due 2025, the payment is due 2025. That's why.
But it more than
like that.
double, like I'm just. that just
Yeah, I think there
seems
were 3 or 4
exorbitant.
printers added onto this contract that payment.
That more than doubled our contract
Yeah.
value.
Yep. Actually, this 12.5, we're going to go over this 12.5, 2024. The 12.5 that was requested in the 2024 budget, right now is over.
Okay, and I think that's what's missing, 'cause,
Yeah, it's ready
and like
over.
yesterday, we had columns that showed 2024 and then actual, and then the request for 25, so that you could see, because there's no way we would know you were over, we just know that the request was 12.5, so it seems exorbitant.
Yeah,
to
so
go
if
to
you look at the
30,000.
Edmonds sheet, yeah,
Look at the slide.
yeah, so yeah, just look at the slide, you already,
Yeah.
that's true, you already.
Well, it was
see
in
it.
the slides yesterday, so.
Oh, it was in other people's slides?
Yeah, the format hasn't,
Oh.
the format hasn't been consistent, so that's why I'll go back through and try to reconcile, but that's why I was
Okay.
really concerned about that jump right there.
Okay.
And then for printing on the next page, you mentioned, that it went down to $5,000 because some of the money was moved to a different
Move to
department's printing.
purchasing printing.
Okay, so then I went to purchasing printing.
It went up by $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see now, all right. Then what is the $8,000 for the tax sale advertisement? You
Yes,
said it's the cost
because,
for-
yes, electronic, so we
Right.
do electronic tax sale, and we have to pay, $8,000.
So we didn't pay that in 24?
We pay, but it's on the, finance contractual line. Yeah, so I'm like,
Okay,
oh, you guys, you know, it was charged to the finance contractual line in 2024, I mean, you have to, tax sale has to show its own cost, so I'm moving back to the, it was, yeah.
Right, I'm just trying to follow, it's not like a note or anything, so I'm trying to
Yeah,
just
so
see.
it was,
Okay,
yeah.
so finance contractual line, for 2024
Yeah,
included the advertisement for the tax sale.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, but that was 10,009, no, that was 109,703.
109,703.
So then we're gonna back out, we'll take out. let's see, I'll go back,
$8,000.
take out 8,000, but the request for that line went up. So
Yeah.
should we go down?
No,
Should
no,
we
no.
We're moving the.
Yes, because but other stuff, other services here are going up. For sure,
It went up.
yeah. Our other services like Edmonds, the software is going up by 2% for sure. Prime point fees is going up, and then professional services are just estimated. They will always go up at least 2%. the
So the
financial.
amount that it went up exceeds the $8,000 that you.
It's not, it didn't really exceed, if you look at the
Yeah.
difference between the 109 and 11,000 on 109.
No, but I backed out the 8,000 first.
You took out the
I took out the
8,000.
8,000, I'm at $101,000.
101. Okay, so so now we have almost like 9. So all these, I'm doing 2% on the financial advisor and bond counsel and bond fees. I think I even underestimated this, but if you take into consideration 2% of what was spent this year,
Is that more than the
Yes.
109? So I've got to,
yeah,
so you already exceeded the 109 in 2020.
close
Okay.
to, yeah,
Okay.
close
It's
to
just-
exceeding
it's-
that.
Okay. All I'm looking at is what's presented here, so.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go back and, take a look at the other documents,
Yes,
but you can't see it here, so, okay, I'll go back and try to
okay,
reconcile that. That was my.
okay. Yeah, I took out the electronic tax here from financial tax.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Diggs. So next, we're going to have our IT presentation by, Mr. Sean O'Brien, who is, online. So Sean, you want to go ahead and take us through your presentation?
Absolutely. Let me know if the presentation slides are visible.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Deputy Mayor, Council, and residents of Willingboro. My name is Sean O'Brien. I'm now 1/3 of the IT department, and I'll be presenting our 2025 operating budget request. Here's a brief summary of what the department provides for Willingboro Township. We support and manage internet service providers ranging from Xtel, Comcast, Verizon Wireless, and Crown Castle. Additionally, we administer the on-premise firewall, dozens of switches throughout the township, physical and virtual servers, camera systems, and the Office 365 platform. We have around 200 laptops and workstations, around 150 mobile devices, such as iPhones, Galaxies, iPads, MiFi devices, and voice over IP Polycom phones. And we do daily technical support. All right, so questions or? Oh, good. All right, so I wanted to highlight the line items that we either increased or decreased. The first line being a slight increase of $250. That is because we plan to join the public sector organizations as members to network, expand knowledge, and to combat cyber challenges together. The next line is to increase the cost towards the technology online services line. So this line allocate funds for Zoom licensing, domain registration renewals, Adobe licensing subscriptions, and the majority of the increase of this line is due to our plans to incorporate our SIM collector into our environment. So this initiative is due to the Cyber JIF. We're trying to be in compliance with their advanced security tier 3 requirements. The next line would be an increase for the technology contractual. The amount from last year shows the allocated amount, not the requested. So my request for 2025 is comparable to what was requested in 2024. So this account number consists of Xtel, who provides the township with internet connectivity, hosted fax, office phones, and more. Crown Castle, they provide network connectivity between our buildings. Belay Tech. They have our remote control software backups for the police department. And we're also hoping to add a PAM solution that is also part of the CyberGIF tier that we're trying to be in compliance with. Office 365, which we all know is a comprehensive platform that provides Office Suite for our email hosting and et cetera. We also plan to upgrade our Microsoft licensing in order for us to configure two-factor authentication for our safety and security. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. So the last line would be a slight decrease. I'm sorry. That would be an increase for our technology training. So the IT department will utilize these funds for professional development and to attend webinars and conferences that provides resources to enhance our knowledge with modern technology standards. And just want to take this moment to thank you for the opportunity. And I just want to open up the floor for comments, questions, and recommendations.
So Sean, let's go through your presentation again, because on your slides, you have 2024 numbers, but you don't have any 2025 requests. So let's go back to line 156, if we can. And you have 2024 at 0, which I believe, was your appropriation in 2024. What is your actual 2025 numeric request?
Is that for technology online services?
That is for technology computer repair.
Oh,
I would say since it's not on here, it would stay the same. I think we reduced that to 0 for 2024.
Is there some line item, which one are you looking at?
I think he's in.
You're in this Evans thing?
Uh-huh,
Not sorry.
Right.
Okay.
So I was looking on his PowerPoint slide,
Alright. Okay.
okay, which,
What page?
yeah,
Wait, maybe
because I have 2025 requests on his PowerPoint, so.
you
you
do?
have it for contractual for computer repair?
No, I don't
That's
have
what
any.
he's talking about, computer repair. That's what I was
That's
saying.
just
What
not
line-
here at all.
That's what I'm saying, that's why I said, are
Do
you
you
looking
have
at?
his admin sheet?
I can go to Evans, I just was trying to see what you were looking at.
Yeah,
Okay,
and so
so-
Sean, let's pull up, do you have your admin sheets in front of you?
I could, yes, I gotta pull that document up.
Okay, let's go to your admin sheets, because your admin requests are not lining up with what's on your PowerPoint presentation.
All right, give me 1 second.
Wait, that's.
Sean, are you there?
Yep, I'm trying to pull up the budget prep on my other screen, so give me a second. So computer repair.
On that, and, or make it a little bigger? A little more, little more.
151. Yeah, Papa.
Okay, so we're gonna start at the very top on page number 1, line number 021, awards and dues. So this year you're requesting $125. Last year requested 0 in that line item.
Correct, so that's an increase, yep.
Okay, and then the next line is 02020 or 022, travel expenses. Your request in 2025 is the same as the amount appropriated in 2024, $325.
Correct.
Okay, so line item 23, which is office supplies, you're requesting $500. Why is that $500 outside and above the $500 or the regular municipal office supplies?
Yeah, this is a outdated budget prep. I think you have the one that we discussed in the office. We decided to strike this one out because, you know, Mr. Brown from the finance would order office supplies, so we don't need this.
Okay, so then that's a zero.
Correct.
Online services,
Yep.
in 2024, there was 20 or 15,000 appropriated. This year, you're asking for 59,000.
Correct. So,
Go ahead.
yep, so online services, of course, that Zoom, Adobe, platforms like that, and our new initiative in order to meet the requirements for the cyber GIF would be our SIM collector. So that is responsible for the substantial increase. But that is to satisfy the tier 3 to advanced security compliance that we hope to achieve.
Okay. I don't know what all of that is, but trust that you do, and it's all important.
Adam, can we talk through that a little bit? So is the requirement something that has to be done by 2025, or what's the timing of the rollout for that compliance? Because this is, I mean, it's new, it wasn't something we were anticipating, so what's the timeline and what is the rollout for something like that look like?
Yeah, so I got a preliminary, well, I got a quote. I had some conversations with one platform, but I do want to evaluate, you know, other providers, what they could provide as a solution. The timeline for the GIF, can imagine it's pretty immediate. I would say within like the next year or so to, you know, be in compliance with this, or, you know, of course, it'll affect our deductibles and things like that. But it's something that, you know, I'm looking forward to as new technology, something we haven't had in Willingboro Township. So, and it will be a benefit to the department.
Yes, no, I don't doubt that it won't be beneficial. I just would like to be a bit more definitive in terms of like the timeline and from the GIF. So I do understand that it's something that we need to do, but it is a big jump. So I'm just curious about, you know, what the timeline is, because maybe it's a payment that's actually made in 26. So that's why, you know, I'm just trying to understand that piece of it.
Yeah, so we'll get a definitive answer on a solution, what route we want to go with, but I can imagine maybe, you know, summertime or fall of next year, we'll get this implemented.
I guess I was in terms of clarifying with the GIF, the timeline, where whatever their compliance requirements are, because we don't want to increase our rate, you know, we don't want to jeopardize that. So I was just curious if we could plan towards that, making sure we're in compliance by whatever timeline they've set out. That would be helpful.
Okay, so, yeah, if you can supply us with the requirement, what we have to be compliant by, and then whatever quotes that you have associated with that related to those expenses.
Right. And I have a follow-up question too on the technology contractual. The increase to the 356.
Mm-hmm.
That request. Can you talk us through what the additional requests are? I'm looking at Edmonds and the PowerPoint, but I'm not fully understanding what comes with that additional almost $200,000 request.
Yeah, so that is our technology internet service providers, Xtel. That's a recurring fee. We're in a 3 or 5 year contract with them, Crown Castle as well, and Office 365. This number, I mean, from last year, this was requested. I was only allocated that, you know, 170,000 figure, and that's why we're requesting more funds to that account to help, you know, pay off the outstanding invoices that we have there, but this requested number is pretty accurate and would, you know, pay the services that we utilize today and the year before and next year.
Okay, I think I'm not following what you're saying. Are you saying that the encumbered debt that's about $356,000, but the township allocated you only $176,000, and we already owe $200,000 in outstanding invoices? Is that what you're saying?
Well, to finish out the year, we requested additional funds to fund them for the year, but for the entire budget calendar year, 350,000 is what I'm requesting to pay those bills without any fear of requesting for more funds.
Can someone help me?
Yeah, I can answer follow-up.
Translate.
Yeah, I'm a little more confused, Sean, with Dr. Worthy here. So there was an allotment of $176,000 for this year, but the project continued. Are you saying that whatever project you were working on continued as requested, as the budget was requested last year without receiving the allocation, it moved forward?
Yeah, I somehow did not receive the requested amount that I, recommended. So
Yeah, but when you don't receive the requested amount, the project doesn't go because you don't have the money.
yeah, but these services, right now, the account is actually zeroed out and we can't actually charge like these previous invoices as well as new invoices to this account since there's no money to pay it from. But these services are critical to the operations of the township and they have to get adequate funding.
So Sean, so what you're saying is that was my question that's why I asked my question the way I did. So when you got a 2024 budget, it was 176, and somebody signed a contract or an agreement over a period of time that exceeded the $176,000. Is that, and so now we owe money beyond the 176 that you were allocated. So in 2025, you're saying I need this 356 so that I'm able to pay all the bills and not have to come back for more money. Is that accurate?
Well, the way I plan, Xtel, Crown Castle, and Office 365, they have recurring monthly.
Accurate. So what I'm saying is not correct. I'm just trying, so that's not correct what I just explained?
Well, I'm not saying you're incorrect, but I want to rephrase it in a way. So
I'm trying to do track changes as we go, but go ahead.
all right. All right. So Crown Castle, you could jump in at any time, please.
Okay.
But
So what happened in 2024 is we allocated, because we want to keep a flat, no increase in the tax rate, we allocated to each department what they spent the year before. So we allocated 170 something because of what he spent in 2023 was the prior year. So if we come December 3rd, when next meeting, there's a transfer request for that line in the tune of $90,000 to complete all his contractual agreement. So instead of that 176, now he's asking for 90,000, so it'll be the 225 for 2024. So the extra 100 he himself can talk to speak on that. But yeah, he has a $90,000 request to fund his 2024 to complete all the required year.
There was no track changes needed. That's exactly.
So it's 175, 176 plus 90, which is 220 something, 220 something for 2024. Yeah.
And then the contract is expected to increase again for 2025 because it's $100,000 more than what will be the actual for 2024.
yeah, I don't expect increases from Xtel or Crown Castle, but I do anticipate Office 365 having considerable amount of increase in the funds because we're trying to upgrade the licensing there.
Office 365 is outrageously expensive in my opinion. Sean, what do we spend a month for our Office 365 expenditures?
That would be, 1 second.
Yeah, but I remember like before Office 365 municipalities, okay.
So I'm looking at that.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
I don't even, you don't even have to give me the number.
Yeah.
What I would like to know, since we're talking about this particular topic, when the council voted to make the investment in IT for Microsoft Office 365, part of that conversation was a rollout of a series of training that was supposed to happen that hasn't happened, so employees know how to optimize Office 365 and the different features, the functionality, which is absolutely amazing in 365. And so I'm hopeful that as we're having the conversation about technology, that it happens, because I'm still getting emails with zip files that I can't open and things are zipped and they don't know how to put stuff in the OneDrive. We're not using Teams effectively. Like, we have all this money that we've put into the software and it's not being optimized. People are still using it like it's an AOL email or something. So I think that there's a lot of work that can be done so that we're optimizing, you know, the investment that's been made in this considerable software, so we don't continue to get like loads and loads of attachments of zip files.
100%.
Thank you.
And I too am guilty of not really understanding and utilizing all the components that are at our resources. But when we get into HR, we'll talk about that.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Sean? Thank you, Mr. O'Brien.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
I do have the publication, for what it was advertised as.
Okay.
It says Township Council to hold public hearing for 2025 budget cycle.
Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm leaving the live meeting, but I'm on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So next on the list is for our Human Resources Department, and I will go ahead and present that on behalf of Ms. Anderson, who is out ill. So a brief narrative of the Human Resources Department. The Willingboro Township's Human Resources is dedicated to applying the best practices to recruit, train, and maintain current and future employees. The HR department partners with the New Jersey Civil Service Commission to provide ongoing training and skill development for professional growth and personal well-being. We utilize webinars, workshops, courses, video presentation, and civil service EAS, which is the Employee Advisory Services, and our comprehensive approach to provide the township with stable, well-trained, customer-friendly staff that is dedicated to accomplishing the goals and missions of the township. So the budget being presented for HR for 2025 is Human Resources Awards and Dues, line item number 21. In 2024, there was $0 allocated to that. That request for 2025 is $300, which is an increase of $300, of course. Human Resources Director Travel Expenses, line 022, is an increase of $100 from $400 to $500. And like the other departments, that pretty much encompasses the municipalities and various conferences. Human Resources Advertising, line item 27, in 2024, it was $0. In 2025, we're requesting $1,500 to account for the additional advertising for new positions that are going to be recruited in Willingboro with our planned restructuring. So that's what that $1,500 represents. Primarily adds to the League of Municipalities, which are a little expensive but effective. Line item number 28 is Human Resources Training, is going from $300 to $500 to increase our staff training. Medical exams is going from 098, line item 098 is going from $10,000 to $17,620. These are all of the pre-employment physicals that we go through for new hires, which we do anticipate having a few in 2025. And also this would encompass any fit for duty examinations that people were out an extended period of time and require a fit for duty to return back to work. That would all be encompassed under there for the whole municipality. Contractual line number 132 is going down from 21,615 to 9,000. These are our fees for Civil Service Commission, LMS systems and things like that primarily. Although we allocated 21,000 in 2024, I think the realization is that we were close to that. We only used 16, and we don't anticipate that going up or being 16 again for 2025. So human resources miscellaneous is $300 for a total budget request in 2025 of $28,220, which is a decrease from 2024 by $4,345. Human resources is currently comprised of the acting director, Ms. Loretta Anderson. We have one personnel technician, and part of the restructuring, we're going to be recruiting a training coordinator in 2025. That individual will be the person that is going to be tasked with training our staff on things like Office 365 and the different components and things like that. They would be the ones that are responsible for onboarding new employees, teaching them how to use the time clocks, all of these different components, as well as making sure that employees who have certifications keep their certifications up to date and provide any other trainings in the township that may be required, like customer service training and things of that. And then there is a clerk one's position that is vacant, and I'm still not completely sold on the need to refill that spot based on our new transition to more electronic human resource component. I don't really know at this time if we're going to need that additional person, but it's on the chart on the chart. Thank you. Just in case. So that is pretty much the human resources budget request for 2025.
I have a question. With the human resources medical exams, are those different than the police medical exams? Or
Yes.
are they included in here if they're separated out?
They are separated out. Sometimes the police are required to do different exams that are a little more sensitive, I guess you would say. That they're not going to be encompassed under HR.
Okay. And then the position that you mentioned, the training coordinator that'll be responsible for onboarding and such like that, will they also be responsible for making sure all paperwork is returned when they're in hiring?
Although that is incorporated as part of the new HR system, that will kind of happen automatically. But once that person is hired, they would be placed in the hands of the training coordinator who would walk through them with the personnel manual, explain the nuances, how to clock in, where to park, and uniforms or whatever, all those elements.
That's all I have.
I have a question with the training coordinator proposed role coming in, will they need additional software to track licenses and training, whatever other training components will be included in that?
Off the top of my head, I'm not able to answer that question right now, but there could be a possibility for that.
Okay, I just would want to consider what that could look like in terms of, storage, or perhaps working with IT to see if SharePoint could be leveraged or whatever functionality we have already. But there may be some, if it's not its own software system, we may need to, really just consider how we can leverage the technology that we have so that that person is optimized to be able to manage the training records.
One of the areas that we are in the process of rolling out, we do have a state approved digital archive. So some of HR human resources records are going to be stored digitally in our electronic archive and not so much manually in file cabinets. And I believe that will help keep a record keep track of some of these training records and things that may have been lost, misplaced, or whatever through the years.
The reason I asked specifically about the training records though is that certifications, many of the certifications have dates, you know, and so without a system,
Correct.
it's not gonna give them like any kind of tickler or anything to let them know. I know that can be built into SharePoint and other platforms so that you put in when it's due by and then they set it so that it comes up, you know, 60 days, 90 days in advance so you get the person in training. Otherwise they're just like another clerk where they're just filing stuff and then somebody's gotta go back and figure out when is the stuff due. So that's just some of that automation is really helpful for someone who's gonna be in that training coordinator role. It also is helpful for if it's going to be used in a way to help with not necessarily promotion but professional development. So like someone's been in a role for some period of time, by now they should be taking these classes, or it's just a way, it needs some kind of automation. Otherwise, it's just gonna be another digital like archive of files, but that the power of that training coordinator is really being able to stay on top of the training and being proactive, and they're gonna need a tool to be able to do that.
Okay, so we're ready to proceed with communications. Ms. Jackson, Ms. Tanya Jackson, Tanya around town.
Good afternoon, Councilman Whitfield, Councilman Worthy, Ms. Harris, all the Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor, oh yes, Deputy Mayor. Hi, I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor. Yes. I am pleased to present you with the communications budget overview for 2025. As always, our role is tied to the component of the strategic plan to ensure that we have a well-connected education committee. I am on the next slide and getting ready to go to the next one. Thank you. And then we're going to the next one. All right, so our goal is to offer more opportunities in Willingboro to make sure that our community feels connected, to connect or feel connected. Under that, we ensure that our new residents feel welcome, informed, and put the information they need. We are expanding opportunities via our social media platforms, website, delivery services, and just using most of our communication to the best of our ability to keep our residents informed, whether that's our social media, e-newsletter, bulletin boards, Comcast Public Access Channel. We now have live and recorded videos. We're hoping to utilize some podcast opportunities, the door hangers. We also have been transitioning to using more banners and lawn signs, which seems to be a very effective way of communicating with our residents in the US mail where feasible and financially what makes sense there. Some of our goals are just to increase our subscriber base for Willingboro Weekly and Willingboro Connect by 10%. We also want to enhance our communications by utilizing more, like I said, the podcasts and videos and more broadcasts. We see that there is definitely an increase in views when we do things via video and live and that kind of thing. So we're going to take advantage of engaging our members at that space. And we just want to increase the opportunity to ensure more of our residents have access to the township and make sure overall that all of our residents are well informed of our events, activities, and updates. So our budget for 2025 is very similar to 2024 in terms of last year request. We had 95,000, that's just an increase of 1,000, and that's essentially in our Granicus contractual services, which we requested 25,000 last year, and we went over a little bit, so we're requesting 26,000, and that is essentially our website renewals, gov delivery services, and that kind of thing. And just as a reference, like our website, we are in contract with them until April 2026. So so every year, you know, you have an allotment that's already kind of in the budget. So that will probably be changing in 2026, but right now, we believe the 26 staff will allow us to satisfy our credits and contractual services. And then our only other line item is under 156, which is the bulk of our communications items, and that essentially is $70,000. So 70 plus the 26 is 96. And within that is our township marketing and promotions, like I said, the banners, anything we're doing, our little township chachi and all that kind of stuff, or anything we need to do to promote our township, we do within that area. That's $10,000. Community mailings, or move the money around. We have $30,000 in 2024, but that is really essentially the calendar for the bias, including the holiday mailers. We do the holiday mailers and the summer mailers are about $5,000 each, so that's where we have $40,000 for 2025. Vendor services, supplies, training has already been $5,000. Keep steady. It looks like it's enough to keep us moving. The community engagement podcast. Last year we did do 20. We're doing a decrease of 10,000. Like I said, we moved the 10 to help the community mailings, just trying to keep steady here. We think that we can still do what we do with the $10,000. At least we will give it a shot. And then miscellaneous and supportive services, about $5,000 in that. Parent makeup right now is just me, this is the public information officer, and a public information assistant. And that is really it, unless you have any questions regarding.
I have a question slash comment.
Okay.
I appreciate all the mailers. I know that I got some feedback about just the size of the font sometimes when like the holiday and summer ones. The concept is great, but then when people actually get it, it's the smaller flyers on the big one,
Right.
and they can't see any like.
Okay.
So just something to consider, but the concept of that flyer is amazing because you can see everything like in a
Right.
snapshot, but just something to consider.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Cool.
But
It looks great on a monitor, like you pull it
Yeah.
up on your computer, it's
But-
perfect.
yeah,
But
okay.
I
appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other was, I love the calendar, and I didn't realize it, I mean, I knew it cost a lot, but I was wondering if we have considered or reconsidered partnering with the school district to give stacks of calendars to the schools, to get those out that way, and then perhaps having a bill what pick up at the township. Not that I don't enjoy every resident getting one, I'm just curious about, open to the discussion. Some residents, I'm sure appreciate it, others may not so much.
So you're saying
So-
part, in terms of having you put it in, just get to the school district to deliver, and then those who don't have, I guess, families.
In school,
In
we
the
could have
schools,
them
we
at,
just have it here.
have them here at the senior center, at the post office, at the, just a consideration, not saying, just something to consider, but we still can get them out, we're invested in printing, but maybe that'll save significant on postage, but just.
It's gonna save about maybe $5,000. So, yeah, because it's, like I said, it's, every time we mail, it's about $5,000.
Even on the calendars?
About $5, yeah.
Oh, so it's the same as that.
Yeah,
one page?
kind of a, yeah,
Even
they
the bulk?
do like, yeah,
Oh,
right,
Well,
so we
I'm
benefit
open.
from that bulk and.
I think it's the calendar's important, it has a lot of information in it, I know why we send it to every home, I was just, if it costs the same as the flyer, it's.
Yeah.
It's worth it, that's what I'm just saying.
And one of the other things I think, Councilwoman Wendy, is with, I think with distributing them with the schools, households may get multiple calendars, so they
Because
may
they have
come home,
students.
because they
Yeah.
have students in
Yeah.
multiple
And it
classes.
doesn't go the same place,
Right.
so that's, okay, just thinking about.
Yeah, and I appreciate, I think that every year we try to brainstorm and
Yeah.
then we get back to the same place.
Yeah.
So we'll keep talking about it.
So postage doubles.
Yeah.
And we got
There won't be,
to,
there won't be any carryout. Yeah.
I appreciate that, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ms. Jackson, I really appreciate the goal to increase our membership in the Willingboro Weekly subscribers and the Willingboro Connect subscribers. Is there any marketing or targeted projects surrounding that that will make sure that we achieve that goal?
Yeah, so I mean, marketing in terms of we are going to identify, making sure that every time we have events or gatherings or any opportunities or residents or artists have like a QR code or something like that, so that the residents are there and scan and sign up right there for the weekly or whatever. Just making sure that those things are more visible. We did talk about utilizing the opportunity of tax notices to go out. There's information there that we can make for residents. So we have a number of things that we are planning to do, and I'm sure that more things will develop as we get into it. We just realized that there have been this opportunity to force people to subscribe. I am while I work, everybody is we can everybody that's been so we are trying to make sure that we make more sort of happen to report.
And then my last question is about the first line on your slide, about ensuring residents feel welcome and informed.
Yes.
Are there concerted efforts to reach out to new residents? I know the calendar gets mailed, but if someone moves in the middle of the year or something like that, the calendar really acts as kind of like a welcome guide to the community. It has trash days and all that pertinent information in there. But if you move mid-year after those calendars have been mailed, you don't get that unless you come to the building. So what are the efforts that are surrounding new residents and making sure that?
I appreciate that. So we do work with the inspections department. They have for entering and exiting the township. So we make sure that we have a little. I use this word, but it's not what you're used to or what used to be the dictionary years ago. We have a little resident guide, for lack of a better word, just has some basic information. So we give that to the inspections department to make sure, and they mail those out as people enter. The township.
All right, that's great. And the like printing of that guide is all
Insurance.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Mr. Harris, on for Ms. Jackson's presentation, the admin file is recreation.
Hey. Sure, we get to.
Maybe it's just mine, but that's,
Yeah, recreation too, okay.
but thank you for that.
It's included in the managers,
It's in the manager's packet, okay,
your line is kind of,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do next is the manager's office, and I asked Mr. Lowry to make that presentation on my behalf.
All right, good afternoon, all. The township manager is the chief executive. We all know that. Oversees all the ordinances and resolutions and policies, make sure that those are enforced, I should say. Next slide, Sean, please keep up with me. If you go to the next slide, I want to say page number 3. You'll see organizational chart for our office. Mr. Harris is the township manager. I'm the deputy manager. Ms. Carmichael is our executive. Mr. Harris is executive assistant, and Ruby is the office clerk. Next slide. Okay, in 2024, we requested 3,500 for awards and dues. This year, we're increasing that to 1,500. Sean, if you can increase the size of the slides.
Okay, better.
Keep going. Thank you. Awards and dues, we're bringing that to 1,500. This is for participating in organizations and staff recognition. Travel expense, last year it was requested 75. $725 this year, requesting $2,500. This will cover the League of Municipalities travel, travel to various conferences, sessions, summits that happen throughout the year. I think there's an interest for next year for Ms. Carmichael to attend the GIF conference. I think that's, I don't know where it is, but it's in another state. She is our GIF czar, if you will. So we're allocating $2,500 to that. Township manager office supplies, last year we requested $850. This year we're bringing that down to $600. We use this line for budget prep, creating binders that are presented to the council during budget prep and various other office supplies. Training, we're leaving that consistent at $5,500. This is for us to pursue various professional development training. I am particularly interested in the CPM course, and there's other certifications that are available for our staff and other training opportunities. This year I went to a few Dale Carnegie people that participated in the Dale Carnegie training. Mr. Harris also participated in one. My training was covered because I have a close relationship with the president of the organization, but she said don't expect that 2,000. Office equipment for this year, we cut that at $0. Township manager contractual last year was $3,825. We added some more technological components to our office. We have DocuSign, Monday.com. There's the Fellow AI solution that we have. So during all of our meetings, we have an AI co-pilot. That takes all of our notes. I'm sure we can incorporate that some way. That would help the clerk's office with their minutes. Yeah, that's something.
So actually, as you can see, the transcription, that happens during our meetings, and the clerk can take that transcription and use that to do its minutes.
Yeah.
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 You may have to clean it up a little bit, but.
And to Mr. Harris's point, Zoom does really well with the transcription. I looked at it a couple times. There will be some things that you have to clean up, but it's absolutely.
Does it do the summary, like,
It doesn't
the one
do
I
the
have
summary
has a
like,
summary and then it, okay,
Well, ours does, but Zoom doesn't do that with that transcript.
okay, we'll talk about that.
So yeah, we're taking up $7,000 just to accommodate the new software that we included. Township manager miscellaneous, that was $3,200. This year it's $14,000 because we're adding $10,000 for the tree lighting into this budget. And our request is an additional $13,500. But again, that's because of the inclusion of the tree lighting into this budget, and there is the increase in travel expense, and that is a total request of $31,100. But again, that's the $10,000 from the tree lighting. The decorating of the.
Oh, the decorating.
Yeah, the building.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
So should that be in the township manager, miscellaneous should be there in that spot?
So last year, it was kind of encompassed under the communications, and I wanted to pull that out from underneath communications. And that was just the location that we had placed it. It's actually going to transition as part of the community events.
Yeah.
Things
Okay,
and-
okay.
right.
I just think it was misleading in terms of.
Doesn't have to replace
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
Or, I mean, you know, it's the tree lighting, but with the decorating the buildings.
Right.
Is that like grounds, buildings and grounds?
I just, no, it shouldn't, it just misrepresents like what's happening in the manager's office there, but, okay, and. The question that I have, in terms of training, given that we have, like that's the executive suite, in the township manager's office, is $5,500 adequate in terms of being able to spread out training opportunities for the department?
It is adequate. And yes, in my opinion, it is adequate.
And that would cover training for everyone in the manager's office, not just your professional development. Okay.
No questions?
So thank you very much, Mr. Laurie. And one of the things that I wanted to impress with these budgets, although each department came and presented their budgets individually, you know, we are going through a restructuring process, and a lot of these individual components will be pressed or merged together into the respective overall departments when the changes come. And Ms. Diggs and I were going to be working in tandem over the next couple of months to restructure the budget, to restructure departments, getting new departmental line items, and bringing all of these little individual components under their new umbrella or new home, I guess you would say.
As you were talking, Ms. Harris, I just went to see how much the training costs, and it looks like the CPM class is $4,100. So if you or any one person did that class this year, I know it's been a conversation over several years for different people interested. It doesn't leave you much money left for any other training. So are you anticipating not much training happening?
I don't anticipate Mr. Laurie to go into the CPM classes.
No, that wasn't my question. My question was more specifically in general, because we're talking about training for the whole department. So that's why I was asking. Okay, thank you.
I do, most training courses, $500, $600, $700.
No, understood. But for the past at least 2 years, there've been conversations about multiple people going into that CPM class.
Right.
So that's why if somebody does get to go, that $4,100 being pulled out, it doesn't leave much left after that. So that's why I was not saying you're sending 5 people to the class.
Right, understood.
Mindful of the cost. Okay, thank you.
And last on our agenda was the presentation from the clerk's office, and I do not have any budget information from them. So I don't know how the council wants to proceed with that, because technically the clerk's office is not a department. But we would need their numbers to collaborate, put together the structure or the budget for 2025.
Says he's on the road, on veteran. You have to proceed however you like, I don't.
Right now, Mrs., do you have any printouts for the clerk's office by chance? Edmonds or anything? No. Okay.
Do you have anything to say?
I don't have any idea what he's presenting. Yes,
No, I was just asking if you're the admins or the clerk's
I
office.
don't even have
Yes,
access.
no, okay, thank you.
Possibly we can move on. We can move to public comment.
Yeah. Before we go to public comment, Mr. Harris, I think, your team did a great job with their presentations. Just for next year, if we can get a consistent format, with the presentations, there were, some differences between how different departments use the template that was provided. And it got a little confusing switching between departments. So if we can get something standard across the board, that would be great.
And I will apologize for that. It's because I did supply them with the templates, I supplied them with the sheets, I supplied them with the instructions months ago, but I also would allow them an opportunity to compile all of their stuff and get it to me in a very short window of time between then and now. So some of the stuff I didn't actually lay eyes on until earlier this week. And then it was a little late to adjust. So I will work on that for next year to make sure that everyone really understands what the assignment is. even though it was presented to them many times over. Don't create your own, don't adjust, this is the template, use it. But
Well, while we're on this, I'm sorry.
No.
While we're on the subject of template, I would request that we reconsider the template, just for the size and, the size of the font.
okay,
To be mindful of that, and also, in PowerPoint, you can embed, tables, so that we're not trying to do quick math and stuff, it's just calculated in, show the differences, that may be helpful.
okay.
And maybe, work on that separate, not when it's budget time, but like, and during another time of the year and lock in on a template. I would appreciate that, I think that would be helpful. And then also, I think we need more time, for the presentations, and nobody likes long meetings, but I would like for us to be able to start with understanding the SMART goals at a high level, just, what the goals are, how it connects to the strategic plan, and then go into the numbers, so it doesn't feel as transactional. I think it's just great to, just to tie that back together, so we may need more time, especially for the larger departments. I think that's something that we could appreciate, and it brings the community back in so that they can see, like, well, we're asking for more money, or, but this is why, and how we're bettering things. So I think that could be really helpful, and I think that's all that I have. Thank you very much.
I received all of that, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Are you prepared to present the clerk's budget?
Well, I wasn't really told what this would look like. I can go line item by line item of what I'm asking for. I have no problem doing that, but I didn't prepare a PowerPoint or anything like that.
Do you have something for council? Do you have an admin's printout, something so we can follow along the conversation?
I don't have copies for you, but I can have some have to go with the printed copies.
There's a copy right next door.
It's only the two council people?
No, we had three deputy members.
Is one, he's on. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on.
The mayor told me she's not.
Please door. Please.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right there.
Yeah, let's do public comment.
Can you do the clock for the
Oh.
public comment?
This is the format one?
Yes.
At this time, we'll open it up for public comment. Please use your raise your hand feature to be recognized, and then state your name and address for the record. You will have 4 minutes for public comment. At this time, public comment is now open. Sean, if you could help us to navigate public comment.
Yes, ma'am. I do see call-in listener ending in 7297.
Good afternoon, council.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mack.
Hi, I'm glad I finally got through today to you. I hope I have to say, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time to explain all of this
Ms. Mack,
budget
I'm sorry,
process to us.
can I have your address, please?
Excuse me? Oh, 70 Maplewood Lane, I'm sorry.
No worries, thank you.
I'm having trouble. The sound system is not good, so if I say I can't figure out what you're saying, that's why. Sorry about that. And maybe Sean will correct it for the next time we do this. At any rate, I'm wondering if there are any hard copies available of the proposed budget for the public, because there were certain areas that I couldn't quite put it all together. I couldn't hear really on the library presentation, and I would have liked to have heard more on Reva's presentation today. It was just my fault that I could not hear that. And the other is that public information officer. Are those copies available to the public or not yet? And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mack. We'll answer all the questions at the end of public comment. Thank you for calling in.
So all of these presentations will be compiled and put on the website for the public to access after today.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Not at this time.
Okay, seeing that there's no other public comment is now closed. And Ms. Mack, I'm not sure if you heard Mr. Harris, he did say that the presentations will be available online and hard copies will be available.
Hard copies will always be available. If she wants a hard copy, we'll print her out a hard copy.
Okay, Ms. Mack, special delivery just for you. We're gonna have a hard copy. Thanks so much for participating. At this time, we're gonna move on to the clerk's office to hear their requests for budget.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go line item by line item.
Can you
So-
speak up just a little more?
Sorry, yeah, of course. So the first line item I have is awards and dues. Last year, we appropriated $100, but we spent $370. This year, I'm putting in a request for $900. The $900 is for the inclusion of IIMC, which we previously didn't join, but I'm a part of. Samantha's gonna be part of it. It includes the Municipal Clerk Association and the County Clerk Association. So because we're belonging to an association, both Samantha and I have to maintain our RMC certifications. We need more money in the budget for those associations because we both have to maintain our CEUs. The next thing I have is travel expenses. Last year we appropriated $500. We spent $476, but that's taking into account that nobody was here to go to the Municipal Clerk Association event in April. And I will be going to the League of Municipalities in the fall, next week. So I'm requesting an increase of $1,500. Clerk office supplies, last year we budgeted $0 and we spent $670. So I didn't think it was appropriate to keep it at $0. So I'm gonna put in the budget $3,000. I don't necessarily expect to be spending $3,000 on supplies because we all pull supplies, but I'm just trying to give myself flexibility, taking into account there's a tax levy cap and there's a budget cap. I just want to make sure that we're budgeting appropriately for my department and taking expenditures and the cost of living account. So the next item is printing. Last year we budgeted $3,000 and we spent $3,088. Since I've been here, I haven't really spent anything on printing, so I don't know what the cost was for that. What exactly went into that? I'm thinking dog licenses, which would have been procured before I started here. So I'm gonna try to leave that line item flat, because again, I haven't seen the need for it.
Yeah, if you could look into that before you share what your request is. You probably need to look into that a bit more.
The only thing I think I put an increase in for the no knock stickers, excuse me, the no knock stickers. Well, I think there was a good cost for that, so that could be part of the printing cost, but I will look into that further. For advertising last year, we budgeted $7,000 well, I shouldn't say to date, to the date of this report, which is dated November 1st, we had only spent $4,842. Advertising gets kind of tricky because some years you do more ordinances than you do others. Some years you do more meetings than you do others. So I do want to increase the cost for advertising a little bit, just to keep up with the cost of living, just to give us the flexibility if we need to. I would like to appropriate $7,500 if I could. The big ticket cost that I'm gonna ask for is in training and education. Education and training is very important to me. Some of you may or may not know, I recently got accepted into Rutgers for a master's in human resource management. I do know we have it on the books, a tuition reimbursement plan. I would like to put into the budget $26,500. Last year, we only budgeted $1,000, but we didn't really have anybody in position that wanted to do training. My big focus is succession planning and making sure we have people in place and have a succession plan just in case somebody leaves at some point in time. So my big ticket ask would be $26,500. I know it's
Astronomical.
just it's a lot at this point in time, but my education means a lot to me. I'm asking for it. You can deny it, like that's fine. I'm fine.
So this is for your personal master's program, not
master's-
for training in the office of
This is to include, it's to include $15,000 a year for my master's program, because we have tuition reimbursement here. But there are other professional certifications that I'm taking into account. For example, Samantha has expressed any interest in doing the QPA program. Donald, wait, let me just take a step back. I'm not saying names. Certain people in my office have expressed a desire to pursue certain certifications in certain education, certain certifications, and this takes into account a QPA program, a registered municipal clerk certification, a planning and zoning certification. Presently, there's nobody in my office besides myself and maybe Dwayne, who has the planning and zoning certification. But I believe I'm the only other person in town hall who went through, okay. I think it would be a good idea that we have that in place to make sure that like, our people are not informed, but they're well trained, they're well educated within their realm of responsibilities. If it's too much, it's too much. The other thing, moving on, office equipment, I'm putting into the budget $2,000. Last year, we put into the budget $2,000. I would like to purchase a monitor and a docking station that I can take home with me. I often find myself working from home. Even on weekends and nights, it would be helpful when I go to do minutes, when I go to do just random stuff, having a second monitor, having a docking station would be helpful. Again, this is a want, this isn't necessarily a need, but it's only gonna help me assist the township in getting all the work done, because I do find myself working a lot on nights and weekends. The next thing is contractual obligations. I'm not putting anything in as of yet. Last year, we budgeted $56,000. almost $57,000, but we only spent $20,000. So I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more because there's a large gap there, and I wanna figure out if there's any invoices we have that are outstanding. Because $30,000 is a big difference from one year to the next, and I might think we might be missing something. But so I'm gonna hold the line on that for that reason. I don't see a need to increase it. Nothing's come up yet. The next thing is equipment repair. Last year we budgeted $0. That doesn't seem right, and it seems like we didn't spend any money on it either. I wanted to put $2,000 in the budget because I know there's certain equipment in my office that other departments use. For example, the postage machine, I'm not sure where that contract is under.
That's encompassed under finance and
It is, okay, I wasn't sure, because a lot of times
it's located in the back, but that's not your department's equipment. That's the township's postage machine, so it's covered under our general operating.
So I would still like to budget $2,000 only because, for example, the call buttons we use for election day, those we lost. Somebody took one of our call buttons from one of our polling locations, but those aren't cheap and we have to budget for those. I am looking at possibly for next year consolidating polling locations, so I might not need to buy another one per se, but I just want to make sure I'm preparing in case I do, because if we lose another call button, it becomes an issue. And call buttons prevent you from being sued for ADA violations, and say, for example, grading in a parking lot is not right. As long as they can hit the call button, it absolves you of the responsibility for that. But if we don't have those call buttons, we can get in trouble and we can have an ADA violation if somebody chooses to sue us. So I just want to make sure I'm budgeting. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm spending, I'm just budgeting. And then my final line item is just miscellaneous. It's miscellaneous. It's miscellaneous. Last year, we budgeted $1,500. This year, I'd like to budget $1,000. Although we did spend $2,500, I'm gonna have to look back. I'm gonna have to look at that item because I don't know what that is. I should know what that is, my apologies. I don't know what we charge for it.
Another page that you want?
No.
Three, it's just the two.
So it's the wrong page.
Yeah.
Second page is
Oh.
October.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I would worry about the first two, don't worry about the third.
okay, but some of the numbers are a little different.
I would go with the most recent one. I would go with November 1st.
So why don't we just take a step back, Mr. Fault, perhaps, once you pull together the information and you're prepared for the budget presentation, you can have your slides together that
Yeah,
will
I can do
provide
that.
the overview.
Of
And
course.
then whatever final copy of your request, so that it's all together and it's the most current information, and then you can send that out to the whole council.
I can do
So
that.
you can have that, and I know, and then we'll share it, share it also with Ms. Diggs, Ms. Harris, so we all have the same information.
That would be very helpful.
Mr. Paul. Can
Yes,
y'all
sir.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so as I'm listening to the meeting, I'm gonna be straightforward. I'm a little disappointed, because the clerk's office was not prepared for this meeting. You walked into the meeting at the last minute and you're just flying by the seat of your pants on this presentation. So that is very disappointing for us and for the residents who are on, waiting to hear a thorough report such as the other departments. So to the point of Dr. Worthy, I fully support you're taking the time, putting together a cohesive budget that makes sense. All right, all of the training and the training dollars cannot be focused on job roles or training or education that's outside of your role as the clerk. So in listening to what you wanted for training, I understand it, but at the same time, I cannot support you going and us paying for HR management classes, and it's not part of your job role. The purpose of that training budget is to enhance those within the department, making sure they're doing the roles of that department to the best of their ability. So I'm going to request that you take the time, go through this, and, make sure when it comes to training, you have identified what courses, what education you would like to see the employees get within that department, and let us know through those training classes what track does that put them on for advancement within the department. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
No, I don't think. It's not a full response. I think that's it.
Attorney, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor?
All in favor, Deputy Mayor?
Oh, no, he's there. Deputy Mayor, you're muted. Are you in favor of?
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Got it, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It was 4:40.